What's up, guys? I'm Jules. Thank you for coming back for another weekly update. I apologize for the confusion of two videos released on the same day last week. I actually realized that I hadn't actually published the video that I thought I had published. Actually, I think I unintentionally published it when I uploaded it and then put it private again so that I could actually put a title on it and everything, and then never actually uploaded it. Never actually made it public, I should say. So, whoops. That was not good. So yeah, so a little confusing. Hopefully not as confusing this week. I have a finish. Which is it's my third finish this year, I think. I'm still hoping for at least one more. And so it's, we've got 3 more months. I'm still hoping for at least one more. So let me show you. I have washed it. I have not ironed this. So it's not perfect yet, but here is Twin Towers Memorial, all done. So you can still see some of the, I did this, I washed it in hot water with a little bit of dishwashing soap, let it soak for a couple of hours, then rinsed it really well. You can still see some of the pen lines from the friction pen, but all I need to do is just, when I iron this out, the heat from the iron will actually cause the rest of the lines to disappear. And then we'll have that done. So, but yeah, it came out really good. What do you guys think? This is on 25 count. 25 count, blah, 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 blah. Off the top of my head, I can't remember 25 count what it is. But that's the kind of day I'm having. But anyway, so I'm looking through the fabric so I can make sure that I'm centered. But anyway, so yeah, everything looks fantastic. And no, I didn't find out which of the buildings are which. I know that this is the Empire State Building, and I know that's where the Twin Towers used to be. And but everything else I'm not 100% sure. But so that's what it looks like on that side. This is what it kind of looks like on this side. A little messier, but still sort of the same. Don't be too worried about what your projects look like on the back side. The front side's what counts. So the 25 count was a little bit of a challenge just because I think my needle size was a little too big towards the end. But I'm super happy that I finished it. And upon finishing, the next thought is, well, what other new project am I going to start? What am I going to do? And part of that involves, I've got a lot of fabric sitting around. I have a lot of fabric from different projects and some scrap fabric. So I've been kind of like moving around trying to figure out like which one I'm going to do. I've got this, and it's funny, like you can look at, if you've been stitching on 18 count or 14 or 25 like I have, like you can kind of look at stuff and go, oh, that's 18, oh, that's 25. And I look at this and I'm like, I think it's 18. But anyway, I've got bits of different fabric. I've actually cleaned them. I don't necessarily need to iron before I stitch. I know some people do. Totally cool, whatever you want to do. But I've got a lot of different pieces of fabric available, and it's just like I'm just kind of thinking about what do I want to do. So I know that there are, well, actually, now that I say that, I actually started stitching on Empire State Workers as well. I'm going to go ahead and remove the hoop because I need to move this hoop. It's a good time. I haven't gotten a lot of stitching done on Empire State Workers. I just started it up again last night. But for those who aren't, maybe have missed the video where I showed my progress, this is my pattern Empire State Workers. My shop is at Stitching Jules Design on Etsy, as well as I have a stitchingjulesdesign.com, but that website is still not really finished. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But this is 25 count monochromatic, so I'm only stitching 310 DMC over 25 count. So it kind of works out to a 2/1, but it looks good. I'm really pleased with it, and I'm excited to get back starting with it again. Kind of move down here and get all these gentlemen stitched up and get them all done. But then it leads me to what am I going to do next? And in trying to think of what I wanted to be able to show from all my designs, there's a couple of different things that I'm thinking about. One is I want to do the Mother's Love. It's I'll show you that here in a second, but it's the one where you see like a woman holding a small child up. They're sort of silhouetted in black, and there's this beautiful tree, like a pink magnolia, or like, it reminds me a little bit of like a pink dogwood tree flowing behind. And I think that one is really pretty, and I'm pretty psyched to start it. And I think that's going to be one of my next ones. I should really do the Book Street one, because that's probably the most popular design that I have going right now. But anyway, but that's what I've been doing. And I've also been working on getting some of my floss bobbinated. I know everybody like does different things with their floss. I like to bobbinate it. It just, it for me, it keeps it from tangling. It's just, I don't know. I change the way I do things all the time. But I'm kind of going through and picking up all the floss that I've been using for Twin Towers and putting them on in little bobbins. My problem has been, and tell me if you guys have a solution for this, but my letters and everything, I actually stick the letters on there and then I put more tape over them. And the tape always, not always, but wants to kind of come off a little bit. And so I've gone in and I've kind of scored, like I've taken some sandpaper and I've kind of rubbed where the tape is supposed to go. And that may be working better. But some of these plastic things are just way too slick. They don't really want to hold the little sticker things with the DMC number on them. They don't want to hold them very well. And that is an issue. But I'm working on getting all those bobbinated up as well. So I've actually started another project as well. I mean, I know I just said I was going to do Mother's Love, but the other one that I wanted to do was Sun Worship. Oh, I can't get I tied the, okay. Can I kind of show you what I did? So I kind of tied the, down here. This was bouncing around a little bit, so I used one of my little clip things here to hold. Here, you can get back. Let's see. Where did you go? Where did you go? Whoops. Anyway, I'm trying to break my stuff, and so, but anyway, it all goes like that. But actually started Sun Worship because there's a lot of this 760, I think it's 760, that goes all throughout this pattern. This one's going to be a little different because I'm stitching it on 18 count, and I'm going to do like full cross stitches, I think. It's a little weird to do full cross stitches once you've done 10 stitches for a long time, for at least a couple of months. It's a little weird to go back, but it's okay. I'm getting with it. So, but I have that project that I'm trying to get started. I wasn't 100% sure if I was really gonna. I have this. I found my stand for my phone. Sorry, guys. But the funny thing was, it was sitting right here the whole time. I didn't look. I didn't turn to my left and look that my stand was right there. But I wasn't sure if I was going to keep up with this, but I think I am. I think I'm going to keep up with it. There's a lot of really beautiful orange and yellows and whatnot in the pattern, and I think it's so different from a cross stitch. I just want to get it. I just want to get that out. Just another different kind of cross stitch out there. So, but the last thing that I want to talk about, and this is actually the majority of the video, believe it or not, Bailey and Suzu are over there, is I have begun to go through all my patterns on Etsy, all the patterns that I've done over the last year, a little over a year. And what I've been doing is applying my techniques that I know now and the improvements that I've made with those techniques and applied them to my old patterns. And what I've been able to do is make patterns look just as good, but be smaller and use less color and just be faster and easier to stitch, so that you're not spending so much time switching from color to color to color like we do when we have confetti stitching. And that was a big reason why I stopped a project called Lincoln Memorial at Night. I had stopped that because I was stitching down. I'm like, man, there's so much confetti. Like, even I don't like the confetti. And I had it in my own project. So I don't know if there was like an update to the Wind Stitch program that I use, or if it's just a year of creating patterns and I just understand how to push the limits of what's possible. But I have really reduced the color count and the sizes on some of these patterns. And I will offer this. If you guys are watching this video and you have bought a digital pattern from me through Etsy, And it has to be a digital pattern because otherwise, a physical pattern, it's going to cost me to send to you. But digital pattern, I have no problem switching stuff with you. But if there is something that I show you that you're like, oh, wow, I haven't started that project yet, but boy, that would be cool to have like a third of the less colors to work on, and it'd be that much faster to stitch. Yeah, I would love to get that. Well, just shoot me a message on Etsy, and I will be able to see on Etsy, like if you've bought something from me, and I'll be able to look there and go, oh yeah, you bought XYZ project, and I've improved that project, and now you want the improved version. Let me shoot that over to you. That's not a problem. I don't have any issues with at all with that. I feel like it's my duty almost as a creator to say, hey, listen, I feel like I improved it. If you still want to stitch the original version, that's cool. But from a stitcher's perspective, I think that this is an improved product, and I hope you like it. But I'm going to pull up a handful of projects on my screen like I normally do and show you what I'm talking about with what I've been able to do. So hold on just a second. Whoop, that's not right. Okay, so I just want to show you a few things. This one is the sun worship that I actually want to do, that I've kind of started with the orange over here. So I just think it's really cool. I just love it. I love the colors in this one, and they're so bright, and it's very different from some of the stuff that I stitch. So I thought it would be a nice representation of some of the stuff that I'm doing. And the other project that I talked about was Mother's Love, and so that's sort of the stitched version of it. But let me get this out here so you can sort of see what it looks like. But this one's a pretty easy stitch because, oh, I shouldn't say easy. It's 33 colors. And just so you guys know, if you see one of my patterns now and it has like the pattern dimensions or the fabric dimensions on the cover page, that is an updated pattern, just so you know. So if it doesn't have it, I haven't updated it yet, but these are all updated. I've evened out all the stitch counts so they're a little easier to work with, and basically using better fabric counts for everything. But this one is going to be a lot of fun to do, and I can't wait to get started on it. I just got to pick the right fabric to get started on it for it. This one I want to do in like a 25 count half stitch. So we'll see. And I also want to put it on the what do you call it? The roller frame over here too. So I'm hoping that I can get that accomplished. But it's not a very big on 25 count. It's under 11 inches wide and just 6 inches down. So it's going to be a quicker stitch than some of the ones that I've been doing. So that I'm excited about. So let me show you some of the ones that I have redone. So raising the flag, one of my most favorite stitches, and also one of the first ones that I personally stitched myself. That being said, I think I'm going to restitch this version of it, which is I think is going to go forward as the official version. This is a perfectly square 200 by 200 pattern. I removed some of the rock from below and on the sides so that it was a more square pattern. It would be better for framing. And I also reduced the stitch count, and I was able to literally almost cut it in half. So this is especially one of those where if you guys are like, man, I really want to do stitch or raising the flag, but wow, there's 17,000 stitches. That's a lot of stitches. Well, now it's down to like 9,000 stitches, and that's a lot more manageable. But I'm gonna restitch this on 25 count and do something a little bit different. But anyway, I was super pleased with how well that came out for reducing the stitch count as much as it was. So super happy. What are we down here? 7,976 stitches. So way better on that one. You can see sort of how it's laid out. Another one that I did, and I'm not fully done with this. This is the weird thing about this, is that I haven't updated the Etsy. I haven't updated the Etsy yet, but it's coming because I've already done this in the pattern thing. I just haven't changed the Etsy pattern or changed the Etsy thing. So this is one where there's a couple things that I did that I don't like. One was that I just didn't realize how I could adjust the stitch count in the software and get this to work out. So now it's like 400 by 500. And the other thing that I did was I removed about over a third, maybe 40% of the total colors. So you can see that's page 1 of all the colors, and that's page 2 of all the colors. Well, I've gotten it down now to like like I said, like 40, well, I might even have it like over 50% of the colors are gone now, and it has maintained its look, so it's still looking just as good. But again, you can tell it's an older design because I haven't updated the front sheet. I need to update this on Etsy, and that'll be one of the next things that I do, because everything behind it is done. I just need to update the listing. So there's that one. One of the bigger ones that I have really changed, and I was shocked that I was able to get this one as small as I was. This is one of my vintage Christmas patterns that I did last year. It was really large at that time. It was like, now it's a stitch count of 150 by 250. I think last time it was more like 250 by 400 or something crazy with like 70, 80 colors or something. Well, we've been able to, when I say we, I mean me, I've been able to not only shrink down the pattern and make it look just as good, but I've been able to remove a bunch of the colors in the process. This is the color page now for it. I can kind of zoom in a little bit. I could conceivably cut the color page down more, but this one has so many subtle changes in all the colors that I think it would take away from the overall look of the piece. And especially with like the old vintage Christmas tree and whatnot. So I left it as is, as far as that's concerned. It uses 47 colors, but like I said, the stitch count is way down now, 150 by 250. I mean, it's now on 18 count fabric, it's 9 inches by 14 inches. So way more manageable than it was, and I'm very happy that I was able to get this one down as much as I was. Next up is another Christmas pattern that I was able to shrink a little bit, but also really just reduced the, cleaned up the stitch count and reduced the overall number of colors. So again, on like 18 count fabric, this is like 9.5 by 14.5. It's definitely smaller than it used to be, but the colors, it's down to 41 colors is what it's down to now. So it's a lot more manageable than what it was. And with Christmas coming up, it's it'll be a fun stitch for anybody who wants to get into the Christmas spirit. But there's that one. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned Lady Liberty, and I was talking about how it originally had all this like black background, and some of that had to do with the way that the picture came out, and it, instead of, anyway, so I was able to go in and manually kind of remove all of that and literally just left it as just, this is what you stitch. So on 25 count, it still is rather large. I mean, it comes out to a somewhat round, although I smoothed off the edges here. So you could put this in a circular frame, or you could still put it in a square frame with matting around it, but we were able to get it all the way down to where it's perfectly like proportional. So 18 count fabric could be 13.5 by 13.5. So, but I was able to maintain the what do you call it? The detail, while reducing again the color count. So we're down to 32 colors for this. Really, I mean, for one of my projects, not a lot. And most of the color is in this outside stitch part, which I thought about removing, but I mean, you don't have to stitch all that if you don't want to, but I kind of left it because I thought that it kind of looked more appropriate, like it looked more vintage that way. But that was my opinion. And then finally, I did this one last night or the night before, and I love this one. I love this picture because I actually took it's Lincoln Memorial at night. I actually took a picture of the Lincoln Memorial at night with all these people standing in the front of it, and I applied a variety of different effects to it and was able to then translate it into cross stitch and maintain the actual picture. And like I said earlier, the thing that bugged me the most about it was that it was just so much confetti. And for those who don't know, confetti is like where, here, let me show you. You're looking at stitching something, and you're like, you're going down, you're stitching it, and then you got to use like different colors here, and then there's like 2 stitches here of the same color, and then 2 stitches here, and then, you know, it's like, it's just, you're constantly changing colors like all over the place. And this has gotten a lot better with this pattern. And I was also able to reduce the overall color count as well, get it down onto mostly one page. but just came out a lot better. Let me say 42 colors, and so I got down to 42 colors for that. Now, the final thing that I wanted to tell you guys about this was that I have also increased the number of physical patterns that I'm now shipping. Not everything still, but I am getting there. I am going to start doing that. So if there's something that you like, but you'd like a physical product, it will soon be available. I've made the Twin Towers available. I made Mother's Love available. Halloween was another one that I went in and I kind of cleaned up a little bit. I'm going to remove the old version of Raising the Flag. Or, I mean, I guess I could leave it as like the larger version of it. But have you guys seen my new bug? I put the green bug up. That might have been this week. It's a smaller stitch. This is stitched on whatever color you want to stitch it on, and the only thing you're stitching is the actual bug. And I thought this was a cute little picture. But 12.5 by 8 inches is all the fabric you need on 18 count for that. Let me go back here. But I added a lot of the physical patterns and stuff to the physical page, but I still have so many more, and I'm just doing that as I improve things. So as I improve them, I'm adding a physical pattern as well, and so eventually I have 155 digital patterns. Eventually I've got like another 90 to basically add to the this side as well. So, but anyway, so like I told you before, if you see something that has the page where you see all the different dimensions on the front, you know that that's a newer, updated design. If there's something that is doesn't have that yet, drop me a line on Etsy and just say, hey, I'm really interested in this project, but I want to, you're going to update it. I want to get one when it's updated, kind of thing, and I can get that all squared away. So, and to also let you know, like I still do custom patterns. Hold on. Whee! I still do custom patterns, and so I don't do them very often. I don't have time for a lot of them, but I do a couple a month or so, and they're really very fascinating what everybody likes. And but I, if I've got the time, and I'll let you know if I don't, but if you got the time and you got a little bit of patience, sometimes I can get them out really fast, and sometimes I can't. It just really depends on kind of what's going on in my life. But anyway, that is what's going on with the store. But if you like physical patterns, there's a lot more coming. There's a lot more designs popping up there. I will eventually get over to the stitchingjulesdesign.com. It's a Shopify store, so I will eventually get all my stuff loaded up on there. I kind of focused right now on Etsy just because I know it better and I'm able to do stuff. And then my goal is to have everything done by Halloween. We'll see. I've pared some things down in my life. I'm kind of like, all right, I can see what I can do and what I can't do, and let me just focus on these like fewer things, and hopefully I get stuff done. Lastly, and this should not be lastly, but it is unfortunately because I've been talking about everything else. If you are going by any chance to a place called Barefoot Needle Art, later this week, it's in Surfside, South Carolina. They're having a retreat later this week, a cross-stitching retreat, and they got some patterns for me. So 4 of my patterns will be there, and we're going to see how they do at their store. But it's a newer store just south of Myrtle Beach, and I've heard of Barefoot Needle Art for quite a while, but I wasn't aware they actually opened their own physical store. And I think it's just barefootneedleart.com, and take a look at what they have, because they have a really cool website. I really like it. And but yeah, I got my stuff. They should have received it actually today. So yeah, we'll see. It was my first order, and I was really, really pleased to work with them, and they were super nice about everything, and understood that I was kind of a noob at this stuff, and need a little guidance here and there. But I'm learning, and I'm excited to do this. I love this so much. I love the design. I love the stitching. I love all of this. So, but anyway, yeah. So I'll have to throw them a shout out at the beginning of the next video. So instead of at the very end. But if you're still here, thank you. But yeah, outside of that, I think that's it. So I'm just gonna get this uploaded so it can trot out there on Wednesday. This is Tuesday night when I'm doing the video, and yeah, so we're gonna be getting a lot of stuff done. So happy stitching, be safe, and I will see you soon. Bye. Maybe if I can figure it out.